Hi, my name is SydneeProsser, and this is my interactive whiteboard assignment and screencast for the class EDT 6005 in the Master's Program for Applied Technology and Education. So my assignment here is on key features and functions. My title page goes through the 6 components, starting with the title, and then the essential question, how do graphs and equations reveal information about functions? This lesson is directed for Algebra 2 students. In my classroom, Algebra 2 has mostly students anywhere from 9th through 11th grade. Next, I have links to my pre-assessment and my post-assessment. The pre-assessment has all the skills that students absolutely need to know before this lesson, and then the post-assessment has something that they'll be able to complete after going through this whole lesson. If you keep scrolling down, there are the 3 goals or standards. The first one is the Common Core State Standard, then the ISTE Technology Standard, lastly is this 21st Century Standard. All of that, the reasoning for all of that can be explained in the instructor notes, which is this pull tab here. The lesson allows students to understand 4 key features of functions and how they relate and tell us information about the graph. That's the purpose. Students will analyze graphs, points, and intervals using what they know already about slope and the coordinate plane. These skills in the pre-test are mostly Algebra 1 skills, so whether they need to master them a little bit more before doing this lesson, there are links right within this unit, so they will be able to access those. They'll also use pencil and paper to write down the problems and notes occasionally throughout this lesson. The rationale behind the technology is that students are free to go through the lesson at their own pace. If they need extra help, they can go watch one of the linked videos. If they don't, they'll be good to go. They can skip over that feature. At the end of the lesson, there is a post-test that combines all key features taught in this lesson. The interactive whiteboard allows students the freedom to learn through technology that advances their creative side, all while reaching Common Core standards. So students will start here, and then they will go to the pre-assessment. The pre-assessment uses many tools. One of the favorite tools that I found was the link to the pen tool. So this first question has them circling the x values and circling the y values. So if you click on that text, it will pop up for the pen. So I think that's pretty cool. In this direction here, it just explains how there are 4 slides for the pretest, and each of those 4 slides represents one of the 4 concepts, one of the 4 key features that we will be covering. If students want to check their answers, which they should be, they will pull this tab to find the answers. Let's say they got it wrong, they'll watch the video, which links them to Khan Academy. And from there, they can watch Khan Academy. If they got it correct, then they can go on to the next question in the pretest. So that's what this 4-question pretest or 4-slide question pretest. This one has them dragging the dots for x-intercepts. Again, they can check their answer, watch a video if they got it wrong, and move on if they got it correct. Here I have them checking which one has a positive slope. So positive slope means that their m value, 3 or -3, is positive. So this one is a positive 3, we'll check it. If they got it wrong when they click the gray box, they'll know from the x. So this goes through for this post-test, this pre-test question, sorry. Next question for the pre-test. Again, we're checking to see if we get the correct answer. If we don't, then we'll know as well. Once we finish the 4 slides, it's a total of 8-question pretest, we can get to the concept map, which organizes all the key features that their students are going to learn about. The directions here recommend students to start with these gray boxes. The gray boxes are vocab words within each of these subcategories. So the 4 key features that students will be learning in this lesson are domain and range, x and y intercepts, increasing and decreasing intervals, and positive and negative intervals. Within, like I said, are the vocab words. At the very bottom, students can also access the pretest again, as well as the post-test when they're all finished. If we click on the vocab words here, we'll get the vocab at the top, and then some questions for students, like for example for this one, for them to ask themselves. So will the graph ever cross over the x value of -1? Well, if we see where x is -1, notice that the graph does cross over, so I can take the check mark and say yes. All of these questions are asking about the x value, so I know from my definition that this way we are defining the domain. To check our answer, we can click to reveal. It explains it as well as provides the answers. The same thing happens here for the range, which is the y values, and then we can check our answers. From here, we have a few options. We can go back to the pretest if we were like, wait a second, I didn't actually get the prior knowledge here, so let me go back and watch the video linked in the pretest. If I'm ready to move on to the next vocab, I can hit the map. Or if you notice, there's another button that will give me to the next vocab here, interval notation. Kind of the same setup here. Just want to go through all of these slides. So click to reveal the answer. This is actually a practice problem for domain and range. So this isn't the same exact function as the previous page. They'll actually have to do this one. And then this is where we first introduce interval notation. After that, students can practice this a little bit more. In this practice assignment, it's like, here's the word bank, and they are dragging the correct domain and ranges for all 6 of these functions. To determine if they did it correct, they will pull to target this, the icons here, which are from the SMART gallery. I'm going to put a little bit more. Yay, we got this first one correct. Cool. So from there, I try to tap into students' lives as much as I can in my own classroom, so this is a little touch. If they got it correct, little celebration, and then they'll move on. From there, that's just this first key feature. Then they'll talk about x and y intercepts, 2 ways to get them, either graphically or algebraically. If they start here with graphically, they're dragging these dots again, clicking to answer, and it's actually helpful if they do this here first, because what they're going to notice is all x-intercepts have y set to 0, which is what we do to solve them algebraically. Same thing for y-intercept. They always have x equal to 0. So then we can move on to solving algebraically, where that's the steps we do. It's really important students know the steps here. So the little assessment here, the formative assessment, is they will drag and drop the procedures needed. And this will explain the steps that are already there, and they will be able to check their answers by, again, pulling to target. Yay, we got it right. They'll do the same thing for y-intercept, and then they'll move on, go back to the pretest if they want to watch the video, or now they can practice. This is color reveal 3, which I, again, got from the SMART gallery and saw in the SMART exchange. They will do this on their own piece of paper, slide over to see this worked out solution. Again, the little congratulations song here. Back to the map. That was x and y intercepts. Now we have increasing and decreasing intervals. So let's make sure we know about positive and negative slope. Here again, I have students clicking on the text to get the pen tool, where they're going to trace over where the graph has a positive slope. Once they do that, they will now click on the graph to reveal the correct area that's has a positive slope, which is the one that I highlighted. And then it explains how we denote that interval by using the x values, and again, writing an interval notation. Students will do how it decreases, click to reveal, and then move on to the next vocab in this key feature, which is the maximum and minimum. So here, again, we're defining it. Students will drag and drop which one they see. So this one over here has a minimum, this one has a maximum. They'll click to reveal to make sure they got it right. And then also, if there's an extra visual they need, they can click on the skiers to make sure like they're going downhill. So it's creating a maximum. This guy's going down, and then up, it creates this minimum. They can now practice this by using the SMART Gallery tool of this pull tool that I found. And then they'll also do the intervals, click and reveal again. For the last key feature, part of the map is the positive and negative intervals. The y-axis is positive and y-axis is negative, are the two different vocab. It actually will link to the same page here because the two of them go together. Again, we are using the pen tool, so I can click on the pen tool. We're tracing red for above the x-axis, a little sloppy, and below x-axis in blue. And then we'll click the graph to reveal the correct answer. And then we highlight again how to denote positive and negative intervals. And then a little math notation is explained here. Students will then move on to practice. with the click to reveal buttons as well. This is the last key feature, so a little bit more celebration. Then they'll go back to the map and they'll be ready to take the post-assessment. The post-assessment is actually one question that encompasses the entire 4 key features. So students will have to identify domain range, both x and y intercepts, increasing and decreasing intervals, and positive and negative intervals. They will pull the target and they'll pull it right off the page here to check to make sure they got it correct. That is the end of the post-test. It encompasses all key features that were worked on. Throughout this, I tapped into all 5 different types of media with graphics, a video, pictures, my audio, and the visuals, as well as used engaging activities which will allow students to move at their own pace. And that is my interactive whiteboard assignment screencast. So they can go back to the map or click the button to return back to home, which is where we will stop here. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch my assignment.